Good morning, all of you. Students, in the last period, we have described about the various terminology used in metabolism. The overall idea about the metabolism I have discussed in the previous period. Now, in this period, we are going to discuss about the metabolism of carbohydrate. It is the unit 1. In the carbohydrate metabolism, you have to study the 4 different pathways. The first pathway is glycolysis pathway, second is gluconeogenesis pathway, third one is glycogen metabolism, and fourth one is glycoxylate pathway. In the first pathway, in glycolysis, you have to study the various steps of glycolysis, the fate of pyruvate, the feeder pathways for glycolysis, and galactosemia. In the second pathway of carbohydrate metabolism, that is in gluconeogenesis, you have to study about the synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources and the regulation of glycolysis and gluconeogenesis. In the third pathway, that is glycogen metabolism, we have to study the glycogenesis and glycogenolysis. Also, you have to study the regulation of glycogen metabolism and glycogen storage diseases. In the fourth chapter, in the fourth pathway, that is glycoxylate pathway, you have to study the conversion of fats into carbohydrate and regulation of glycoxylate and citric acid pathways. This is about the carbohydrate metabolism, the first unit. Now come to the first pathway, that is glycolysis. I want to give a general idea about the glycolysis pathway. In glycolysis, a molecule of glucose is degraded in a series of enzyme catalysis reactions to yield 2 molecules of the 3 carbon compound pyruvate. The glucose, which contains 6 carbon atoms, it degraded or catabolized or broken down by a series of reactions, enzymatic reactions. And the last product which is formed in this pathway is pyruvate, which contains 3 carbon atoms. In this way, from the 6 carbon containing compound, 2 molecules of pyruvate containing 3 carbon atoms each are synthesized. It is about the pathway of glycolysis. There are total 10 steps of glycolysis pathway catalyzed by different enzymes. We'll study in detail in the next period. During the sequential reactions of glycolysis, some of the free energy released from glucose is converted or conserved in the form of ATP and NADH. Glycolysis is a catabolic pathway. In this pathway, when there is breakdown of glucose molecule, energy released, and this energy is conserved by the cell in the form of ATP and NADH. In this way, glycolysis yields energy. It is energy giving pathway. Glycolysis was the first metabolic pathway to be elucidated, and it is probably the best understood. This pathway, it is the first metabolic pathway taking place in the cytoplasm of the cell, and it is thoroughly studied. It is best understood pathway as compared to the other pathways. Glycolysis is an almost universal central pathway of glucose catabolism. The pathway with the largest flux of carbon in most of the cell. This pathway occurs in all the cells, that is including plant cell, animal cell, even in microbial cell. So it is called a universal central pathway, and in this pathway glucose is catabolized. In this way glucose enter in the cell. Glucose contains 6 carbon atom, therefore most of the carbon atom in the cell it is obtained in the form of glucose. The glycolytic breakdown of glucose is the sole source of metabolic energy in some mammalian tissues and the cell types. Most of the energy of the cell it is obtained by the breakdown of glucose by the glycolytic pathway. Therefore it is the main source of energy in most of the cells and tissues. Now come to the various steps of the glycolysis pathway. Glycolysis is divided into two phases, a preparatory phase and payoff phase. In the preparatory phase, there is preparation of glucose for catabolism. The first 5 steps, in which breakdown of the 6 carbon atom glucose into 2 molecules of glycerol 3-phosphate occurs. It is called a preparatory phase. That is breakdown of the glucose molecule into 3 carbon containing compound, that is glycerol 3-phosphate. These first 5 steps are known as the preparatory phase of glycolysis. The second phase is payoff phase. In this phase, the glycerol 3-phosphate is oxidized to yield 2 molecules of pyruvate. In the payoff phase, the next 5 steps, the last 5 steps of glycolysis are included. In this phase, the 3 carbon containing compound, that is glycerol 3-phosphate, the 2 molecules of this molecule are oxidized to yield 2 molecules of pyruvate. In this pathway, ATP are synthesized, therefore it is called as payoff pathway. In the sequential reactions of glycolysis, 3 types of chemical transformations are particularly significant. The first significant reaction taking place, a significance of glycolysis pathway is degradation of the carbon skeleton of glucose to yield pyruvate. Glucose is catabolized, the carbon skeleton of glucose is catabolized and yields pyruvate. Secondly, the phosphorylation of ADP to ATP by high energy phosphate compounds formed during glycolysis. ADP is converted to ATP with the breakdown of the high energy compounds of the glycolytic pathway, and therefore there is synthesis of ATP, and the synthesis of ATP from ADP is called as substrate level phosphorylation. It occurs in the glycolysis pathway. Third one is transfer of hydride ion, that is the H plus ion is transferred to NAD molecule. The oxidized form of the NAD, it combined with the hydride ion to form reduced form of NAD, that is NADH. These are the 3 types of chemical transformation that particularly occur in glycolysis. Now come to the next topic, that is importance of phosphorylated intermediates in glycolysis. In the glycolysis, there are 10 steps. Glucose enter in the glycolysis. It is sequentially converted into number of intermediate products, and the last product of glycolysis is pyruvate. When glucose enter into glycolysis in the cytoplasm, it is converted into glucose 6-phosphate, then fructose 6-phosphate, then fructose 1,6-diphosphate. Then it is clewed into dihydroxyacetone phosphate plus glycerol 3-phosphate. Then glycerol 3-phosphate, it is converted into 1,3-diphosphodipherate, then 3-phosphoglycerate, then 2-phosphoglycerate, then phosphoenol pyruvate, and lastly we will get the pyruvate. It is observed that during glycolysis, the glucose which enter into the cell doesn't contain phosphate, while the pyruvate which is obtained as the last product of the glycolysis pathway is also a dephosphorated compound. It doesn't contain any phosphate. However, the intermediates of glycolysis is from fructose 6-phosphate up to phosphoenol pyruvate all contain phosphate groups, or they are called as phosphorylated intermediates. There is some significance behind the phosphorylation of the intermediates of glycolytic pathway. We will discuss about what is the importance of the phosphorylated intermediates of glycolysis. There are 3 significance of phosphorylated intermediates of glycolysis. The first significance is because of the plasma membrane generally lacks transporters for phosphorylated sugars, the phosphorylated glycolytic intermediates cannot leave the cell. Once glucose enter into the plasma, into cytoplasm, it is converted quickly into glucose 6-phosphate. The glucose 6-phosphate then converted into fructose 6-phosphate. But the glucose 6-phosphate which is formed, it can't leave the cell. It can't come back from cytoplasm into the surrounding of the cell, because the plasma membrane doesn't allow the entry of the glucose 6-phosphate from cytoplasm into the surrounding fluid or in the blood. Therefore, the glucose 6-phosphate once formed, it never leaves the cell. Therefore, it is converted into fructose 6-phosphate and then lastly into the pyruvate. In this way, the cycle goes on. It is the first significance. The second significance of this phosphorylated intermediate glycolysis is that the phosphoryl groups are essential components in the enzymatic conservation of metabolic energy. Glucose 6-phosphate converted to fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate converted to fructose 1,6-diphosphate. In this way, there is conversion of the phosphorylated compound to other phosphorylated compounds. When there is conversion of the phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate, there is a release of the energy by breaking the phosphoester bond. Now, phosphate is attached to the pyruvate molecule. It is called as the formation of phosphoester compound. When there is hydrolysis of the phosphoester compound, the energy is liberated, and this energy is stored in the form of ATP molecule. Similarly, when there is conversion of 1,3-diphosphoglycerate into 3-phosphoglycerate, there is also release of the energy, and this energy is stored in the form of the ATP molecule. In this way, the phosphate groups, it conserves the energy in the form of ATP molecule. It is the second significance. The third significance is that binding energy resulting from the binding of phosphate group to the active sites of enzyme lowers the activation energy and increases the specificity of enzymatic reactions. For binding of any substrate with the active site of the enzyme, it requires some energy. And due to the binding of the phosphate group with the glycolytic intermediates, the intermediates are activated, and due to activation of the phosphorylated intermediates, the activation energy decreases. Also, the enzymes of glycolytic pathway, they are specific for the phosphorylated intermediates. They require phosphate on the substrate. Therefore, they quickly combine with their substrate and give the products. The intermediates are phosphorylated intermediates. They contain energy in the form of phosphoester bond. Therefore, the activation energy of the enzyme is decreases. Therefore, the reaction rate is hasten, or the reaction become very fast. The magnesium ion is generally tightly bound with the phosphate group, and due to binding of the magnesium to the phosphate group, the enzyme recognizes this complex, that is magnesium phosphate complex, and therefore the specific enzyme, it binds with the specific substrate and form the specific product. This is the significance of the phosphorylated intermediates of glycolysis. Now come to the actual steps of glycolysis. In the glycolysis, there are total 10 steps. The 10 steps are divided into two phases. That is, the first 5 steps is called a preparatory phase, and the last 5 phases are called as payoff phases. Now we will discuss the first phase of glycolysis, which consists of 5 different steps. It is called as the preparatory phase of glycolysis. In the preparatory phase of glycolysis, 2 molecules of ATP are utilized, and the hexose chain is cleaved into 2 triose phosphates. This change occurs in the preparatory phase. Means 1 glucose molecule, it requires 2 ATP molecule for activation, and it is broken down by the 5 steps to give 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing triose phosphate. This is called as the preparatory phase. Now come to the first phase, or the first step of the glycolysis. The first step of the first phase of glycolysis is called as phosphorylation of glucose. In this phase, the glucose is phosphorylated. That is, there is attachment of or addition of phosphate on the glucose molecule. Due to addition of phosphate on glucose molecule, glucose is activated. There is formation of the bond between glucose molecule and the phosphate group of the ATP. The ATP is phosphate group donor. The phosphate of ATP is added on the carbon number 6 of glucose molecule, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme hexokinase or glucokinase. These are the kinase enzyme which require ATP for their activation, and these enzymes, they carry out phosphorylation of the substrate. Here the hexokinase, so named because it carried phosphorylation of not only glucose, it also carried out the phosphorylation of fructose phosphorylation of galactose, phosphorylation of mannose, etc. It carry out phosphorylation of most of the hexoses, so it is called as hexokinase. Here glucose is phosphorylated at this carbon number 6 by the kinase enzyme to give glucose 6 phosphate. In the reaction, ATP is the phosphate group donor, and the reaction is written as glucose plus ATP. It gives glucose 6 phosphate plus ADP. The reaction is very specific. The phosphate is added on the 6th carbon atom only. The 6th carbon containing pre-OH group, it is phosphorylated by the hexokinase or glucokinase to give glucose 6 phosphate plus ADP. It is the first step of glycolysis. Now in the second step, there is conversion of glucose 6 phosphate to fructose 6 phosphate. The product of the first step, that is glucose 6 phosphate, is used as the substrate for the second step. In the second step, there is synthesis of fructose 6 phosphate. Glucose 6 phosphate is aldose sugar and fructose is ketose sugar. In this way, there is conversion of aldohexose into ketohexose. It is simply conversion of the glucose 6 phosphate to fructose 6 phosphate. There is no addition of phosphate, there is no removal of phosphate. Only simply there is conversion of the aldohexose into ketohexose. The enzyme which catalyzes the conversion of aldose into ketose, it is called as isomerase enzyme, because glucose and fructose are isomers of each other. Therefore, the enzyme is called as isomerase. It is also called as phosphoglucoisomerase because glucose is present in phospho form. Therefore, the enzyme is called as phosphoglucoisomerase. There is isomerization. The reaction is reversible. Reversible isomerization of glucose 6 phosphate to give fructose 6 phosphate. The reaction is written as glucose 6 phosphate. It gives reversibly fructose 6 phosphate. The enzyme catalyzing the reaction is called as phosphohexose isomerase or phosphoglucose isomerase. It is about the second step. Product of the second step is fructose 6 phosphate. Now in the third step, there is phosphorylation of fructose 6 phosphate to fructose 1,6 diphosphate. The fructose 6 phosphate, which is a product of the second step, it is further phosphorylated to give fructose 1,6 diphosphate, diphospho form of fructose. Fructose 6 phosphate, it has phosphate on the 6th carbon atom. There is addition of one extra phosphate on the 1st carbon atom of fructose molecule to give fructose 1,6 diphosphate. This reaction is catalyzed by a very important enzyme called as phosphofructokinase 1 enzyme. This enzyme specifically adds the phosphate group on the 1st carbon atom of fructose 6 phosphate to give fructose 1,6 diphosphate. Here again, ATP is the source of phosphate group. It is also source of energy. The formation of the bond between phosphate and fructose, it requires energy. This energy is supplied by ATP. ATP also supplies the phosphate group to yield fructose 1,6 diphosphate or bisphosphate. Fructose 6 phosphate plus ATP, it gives fructose 1,6 diphosphate or fructose 1,6 bisphosphate plus ADP. The enzyme catalyzing the reaction is called as phosphofructokinase. The short form is PFK1. It is present in the cytoplasm of the cell. all the three enzymes discussed so far are present in soluble form in the cytoplasm of cell. Now come to the next step, that is fourth step of glycolysis, and the cleavage of fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Cleavage means breakdown. The carbon-carbon chain of fructose molecule is broken down into two molecules of equal size. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is cleaved to yield two different triose phosphates. The one triose phosphate is called as glycerolate 3-phosphate, which is an aldose. It is aldose sugar called as aldotriose, and dihydroxyacetone phosphate, it is a ketose. It is also called as ketotriose. The glycerolate 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate both are trioses. Both contain 3 carbon atoms. Both contain one phosphate group, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme aldolase, because it is aldol condensation type reaction. That is, aldose can condense with ketose to give the aldol condensation type product, that is fructose 1,6-diphosphate. Therefore, the enzyme is called as aldolase. Fructose 1,6-diphosphate, it contains 2 phosphate group. Out of the 2 phosphate, one phosphate is given to the glycerolate 3-phosphate, and second phosphate is given to the dihydroxyacetone phosphate. In this way, the equal distribution of phosphate group to the 2 trioses, each one get one phosphate from the substrate, that is fructose 1,6-diphosphate. The size of glycerolate 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate is very small compared to fructose 1,6-diphosphate. Therefore, these molecules are highly reactive. They are highly unstable. Glycerolate contain aldehyde group, dihydroxyacetone contain ketone group. Therefore, they are highly reactive sugars. These highly reactive sugars, in the 5th step, they are converted into each other. Now come to the next step, interconversion of triose phosphate. Triose phosphate, that is glycerolate 3-phosphate and dihydroxyacetone phosphate, product of the 4th step, are interconverted. Means glycerolate 3-phosphate converted to dihydrogen phosphate and dihydrogen phosphate converted to glycerolate 3-phosphate. This reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme triose phosphate isomerase, because these two substrates are isomers of each other. They both contain 3 carbon atoms. They contain one phosphate group. Their structural arrangement is different. They have the same molecular formula. Therefore, they are called as isomers of each other. Hence, the enzyme is called as triose phosphate isomerase. In the second phase of glycolysis, there is entry of glycerolate 3-phosphate. Therefore, dihydroxyacetone phosphate, it is converted into glycerolate 3-phosphate, and then glycerolate 3-phosphate enter into the second phase of glycolysis. Therefore, the reaction written as dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted reversibly into glycerolate 3-phosphate. In this reaction, there is no requirement of any ATP molecule. There is no release of any phosphate group. Only there is conversion of the ketose sugar into aldose sugar. That is, dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted into glycerolate 3-phosphate with the help of the triphosphate isomerase enzyme. And this reaction completes the preparatory phase of glycolysis. The hexose molecule has been phosphorylated at carbon number 1 and carbon number 6. and then cleaved to form two molecules of glycerol 3-phosphate. These are the changes which occur in the first phase of glycolysis. That there is formation of two molecules of glycerol 3-phosphate, and this is about the first phase of glycolysis. In the second phase of glycolysis, which is called as the payoff phase, there is entry of two molecules of glycerol 3-phosphate. That is, the substrate for the second phase is glycerol 3-phosphate molecule. With the help of the various enzymes of the second phase is conversion of the glycerol 3-phosphate into pyruvate with the help of the various enzymes. This is about the first phase of the glycolysis. In the next period, we shall discuss about the second phase of glycolysis. Thank you.